Is owning a house in the beautiful French countryside or an apartment in Paris one of your dreams? Then you are in the right place.
Today marks the beginning of our new series about buying a home in France. Let's kick it off by asking, is now the best moment to invest in a property in France? Bonjour everyone and welcome to our channel. After over 5 wonderful years in Paris, our passion for real estate has taken us to an incredible journey.
We traveled all around the country from big cities to the charming countryside to find a place we could call home. Today, we are here to share our first-hand experiences and insights.
Subscribe to follow our unique real estate journey and stay tuned for French home adventures.
But wait, are there any restrictions for foreigners to buy in France?
No, everyone is invited to this French real estate party. Non-residents, whether they are from the European zone or other parts of the world, can purchase real estate in France.
Okay, with that out of the way, let's dive right into the present state of the real estate market in France, which is undergoing noticeable changes. Ever heard about declining prices in real estate? Well, we have it. For the first time since 2015, there's been a decline in the real estate market price, but it's not uniform. In the region of Paris, the decline is around several percent year over year, while in the rest of the country is around 3%. Why, you ask? Several factors are contributing to this decline, and we are here to break them down for you.
So, what is lowering prices? First of all, inflation, which has become a global concern, takes center stage here as well. However, compared to its neighbors, France has managed to keep it relatively in check, peaking at 6% in November 2022 and decreasing by 5% last year. The French government's efforts to combat inflation, although they had a good impact in general, harmed real estate, leading to a decrease in the French mortgage market and resulting in a downturn for real estate.
The second point is the interest rates, which are increased to keep the inflation under control. Only 2 years ago, the interest rates hit an historic low of 1%. However, it has since accelerated and is now more than 4 times higher. And the problem is not only the interest rates, banks have become more restrictive in offering mortgages, making affordability challenging for dream home seekers. In 2022, the government introduced a new law that reduced the new mortgage loans to a maximum of 25 years from 35 years previously. Also, the amount that can be borrowed including fees and insurance is kept at 35% of the borrower's income.
Given these circumstances, potential buyers are feeling discouraged from applying for mortgages, waiting for better times. 1 out of 4 French individuals has postponed or cancelled plans to buy, while the average French household's property purchasing power dropped by 18% in 1 year. For those who still attempt to secure a mortgage, a large percentage of them face rejections, with 2/3 of French mortgages applications proving unsuccessful. French banks are also hesitant to grant bank loans to foreigners without a history, so don't count on it.
To add to the mix, new environmental regulations have been added and the implementation of renovation grants are going slowly. In France, every property sold or rented must possess an energy performance certificate named DPE. This document, issued by an independent professional, provides information on the energy performance of real estate, assessing its energy consumptions and environmental impact in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. Ranging from A to G, the certificate also outlines necessary renovation details and approximate costs. As you can expect, this document is putting pressure on older and unrenovated buildings. Transparency regarding the renovation cost is likely to drive prices down.
Furthermore, properties with low DPE scores will face restrictions on renting, forcing the owners to renovate or sell and potentially discouraging the investors. Nevertheless, this situation could be in the advantage of buyers interested in purchasing older properties with the intention of renovating. Talking about grants, France continues to provide renovation grants for property owners aiming to enhance energy efficiency. However, most of these grants are restricted to primary residences and the implementation is quite slow. For secondary residences, there are only limited temporary tax reductions.
Speaking of taxes, they also play a significant role. The government raised the property tax known as taxe foncière by 7% last year, citing the increase in property values over the past couple of years. Also, for secondary homes, there is an additional tax called taxe d'habitation. If you generate income from your house in France, remember that you must declare it and pay additional taxes here.
Let's talk a bit about security. One of the initial concerns that people have is related to this issue. With all the media buzz, protests, and recent events, we cannot overlook the subject. In terms of buying a house, factors that can make purchasing property in France less appealing are related to the risk of squatting, particularly in the secondary homes. One method squatters use involves breaking into a house and promptly renting it to someone else before disappearing with the initial payment. Although this may sound discouraging, you can always secure your home. However, this means increased expenses, including potential monthly costs.
So, we talked about what is decreasing the price, now let's talk about what is keeping the price up. One of the reasons for this is the low volume. Recent reports show that the number of properties being sold in France decreased by 20% last year. This is caused on one hand by owners who managed to lock a mortgage rate with a low interest rate, so they don't have any reason to sell unless they are forced. This being said, there are still owners who need to sell now, like in the case of inheritance, work relocation, or familiar events like divorce. On the other hand, France is providing fewer building permits, with the number of new permits falling by almost 5%. Also, the cost of construction materials is about 20% above what it used to be prior to COVID, making it more difficult to build new homes.
One thing that could make the prices go up is the zero interest rate mortgages announced by the French government recently. It remains to be seen if this will work or not. Even without this help, the forecast predicts an interest rate of 2.5% next year, which might restart the buying appetite.
No secret to anyone, France is a tourist magnet. This is one of the good reasons to consider buying in France for investment in short-term rentals. And don't forget the significant event of the year, the Olympic Games, set to take place all around the country. This can make your house become the next vacation hotspot, allowing you to generate income and also use the home occasionally. Beyond the beautiful landscape, France offers a place for every type of activity, and there is a demand for short-term housing in almost all regions.
Before buying real estate, let's assess the country's economic strengths. France will keep growing steadily, expecting the economy to increase by almost 7% in the next 5 years. This means that investors will have a stable and reliable return on their investments and indicates that the market is unlikely to experience any sudden downturn. With a focus on renewable energy sources and renovations, France doesn't have a big energy dependence compared to its neighbors, which might help make the economy stronger in the long term.
The 10th and the last point is about the price fluctuation in the long term. French property values have consistently risen for the last 5 consecutive years, increasing by more than 27%. Even if the prices fall, historical data shows that the prices always recover steadily.
So, in conclusion, is now a good time to buy a house in France?
It can be, considering that there are some good deals and a larger negotiation range. But you need to have enough cash or require a small loan to buy and renovate. Additionally, you need to be willing to put some effort into the renovation.
In the long term, France's housing market has been growing constantly, making it a sure investment. If you manage to buy a property in this country, make sure you plan to keep it for a long period, as current sellers are in difficulty.
If you found this video helpful, remember to hit the like button, subscribe and ring that notification bell for more real estate insights in France.
And stay tuned for our next video, where we'll be exploring how much money you need to buy in France. Au revoir!